My husband gave me a divorce at Christmas, and as the words left his mouth, the room fell into an eerie silence, broken only by the soft jingle of the holiday decorations and the crackle of the fire, and then, to my shock, his whole family started applauding, a sound that pierced through my disbelief and sent a wave of confusion crashing over me. I had walked into what I thought would be a quiet, ordinary family gathering, with laughter, gifts, and the warmth of holiday cheer, only to be blindsided by an announcement that felt like a betrayal so deep it left me struggling to process the scene in front of me, the smiles and nods from people I had trusted, the polite claps as though my own heartbreak was some sort of performance deserving recognition. For a long moment, I simply stared, unable to speak, unable to comprehend how everyone could react with such enthusiasm to what I had believed would be the darkest moment of my year. And then, as I looked closer, I began to see the subtle expressions, the hints of relief, the secret satisfaction behind the polite facade, and a cold realization dawned on me. This was never just about the divorce, it was about control, appearances, and a story they had been waiting to see unfold, one where I was cast in a role I never agreed to play. My husband, confident and unerringly calm, continued as if nothing was amiss, speaking about legal arrangements, property division, and timelines, while his family nodded approvingly, asking questions that seemed rehearsed, as though they had anticipated every objection, every tear, every word I might utter, and I realized that their applause wasn't joy, it was affirmation of their own expectations, their own power, their own judgment, and suddenly, the feeling of isolation in the room was overwhelming, a suffocating reminder that sometimes those closest to you are capable of the most profound betrayal. But as the initial shock faded, a spark of clarity ignited within me, a sense of self-respect and determination that had nothing to do with their opinions or their applause, and I remembered the life I had built for myself outside of their judgment, the friends who truly mattered, the career I had cultivated, the dreams I had never abandoned despite the setbacks, and with that clarity, I realized that their approval or disapproval was irrelevant, that the moment they sought to diminish me was actually the moment I could reclaim my own power, not with anger or vengeance, but with calm, decisive action. I excused myself politely, stepping out into the snowy night, letting the cold air clear my mind, and began planning how to move forward, knowing that the divorce, though painful, was also an opportunity to rebuild a life that reflected my values, independence and strength, rather than the expectations of others. Over the next weeks, I focused on myself, on career opportunities, friendships and passions I had neglected, and with each passing day, the sting of that Christmas moment faded, replaced by a quiet pride in my resilience, my ability to rise above humiliation, and my refusal to let someone else dictate my worth. Eventually, when I heard that the family had been gossiping, speculating, and celebrating behind my back, I felt only amusement, because the power I had feared losing had never truly been theirs, and as I signed new contracts, pursued new adventures, and built a life that belonged solely to me, I realized that the applause that had seemed so cruel that Christmas was actually a catalyst, a turning point that reminded me of my strength, my independence, and the unshakable truth that even in the face of betrayal and humiliation, I could rise, thrive, and create a life so fulfilling that no one else's judgment could ever touch it.